Good afternoon. Happy Sunday to all our listeners. Today on Africa Online Media Corporation, we will be discussing the M in STEM. This is Her Royal Highness Reverend Dr. Pam Fomenung, CEO and Chairperson of Africa Online Media Corporation. I want to warmly welcome all our viewers, our special guest and partner, Professor Peter Akwichek of Trust Tech Online Academy and Trust Tech University in Buea, Cameroon. He is handling our STEM series this month, and we're just going to go right into it. This is last week he discussed technology, and that was amazing. And now today you're going to be, no, I'm sorry, today you're discussing engineering.
Yes.
Engineering. So last week was mathematics. Have you discussed mathematics yet?
Last week we did.
Last week was mathematics, and the week before that was technology.
Yes.
So because we're not going in chronological order, we're selecting the acronyms as the professor prescribes. So Prof, the mic is yours. And thank you so much for your faithfulness. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Madam Pam. I want to welcome everybody who is going to be listening to this lecture today. It's all about STEM, and we are going to be talking about engineering. The E in the middle here is engineering. It's going to be very, very useful to listen to this, and you're going to be inspired. I hope my screen is...
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, so let me play it in a way that will be very visible to everybody who is listening and watching. All right, so welcome everybody. This is Prof. Peter, Akwichek of Trust Tech, the president of Trust Tech University, located in Buea, Moruto, Buea. We're going to talk about engineering. And of course, everybody, you are going to understand why things work the way they do and why you should be interested to participate. There are things that you enjoy today, and you're running over bridges, you're using your telephone, you're using a lot of other resources that you use to make a life go easy on you. You don't realize who thought about it, how it came about it, and today you're going to learn exactly how engineering works so that you can become one of the engineers. Engineering opens doors to innovation, problem solving, and creating solutions that shape our world. Without engineering, we will not be able to enjoy the facility that we have today. For Africa's bright minds, this path offers unlimited potentials to build a better tomorrow. What is engineering for that matter? What is it? Engineering is the powerful applications of science and mathematics to design, build, and improve the world around us. It is where creativity meets technical knowledge to solve real problems. Engineers turn ideas into reality. If you have an idea in your mind, but you don't know how to resolve it, how to implement it, it is an engineering mind that can take that idea and develop a real product that we can use today. The telephone was engineered by engineering. The bridges that we cross, the car that we drive are all engineering products. It is through the engineering mindset that some of this reality comes to light. From the roads you travel to the mobile phone in your pocket, engineers are behind the innovations that shape daily life in Africa and beyond. Let us step through STEM, the core offering from African Brain Bank, STEM. The science, S stands for science, which enable you to discover knowledge and explain how our world works. That's science. When you turn your face and look up into the sky and see the stars, you see the moon, and you see them disappear and appear, you begin to wonder, what is up there? How does it work? Then it is the science that explains the different phases of the moon. You have the half moon, you have the full moon, and sooner or later the moon disappears. And then one time you will see the star lift from one corner and shoot with a lightning speed and disappear on the other end. Only science to explain that phenomenon. The universe is understood today by geographers because of science. Let's look up to terminology. T stands for technology. Technology, this one, creates tools that apply scientific knowledge. Once you have a scientific knowledge, then how do we get to the universe? How do we measure how the moon appears and disappears, how long it takes for the moon to come back? It is the technology that you will use to uncover all of that, right? What about engineering we're going to talk about today? Bridges, engineering bridges science to real-world application, turning discoveries into practical, practical solutions. You're going to see a lot of that today. We talk about mathematics. My hand is moving too fast. We talk about mathematics, provides the language and the tools for precise design. You see how STEM all get together and how it makes our world a better place to live. From science to technology, engineering, and mathematics, these components of technology truly make our life better today. All right, there are several branches of engineering. We are going to deep dive into engineering, and here are the branches. You can decide which one you want to specialize in or learn further. Number one is civil engineering. You must have heard about civil engineering. Now, what does it mean? It means designing and building infrastructures. We talk about the roads, we talk about bridges, we talk about the dams, we talk about buildings that form the backbone of African communities. That is civil engineering, right? You can specialize in that. Then we have mechanical engineering. It creates machines, vehicles that we drive, and mechanical systems that power industries and transportation across the continent. That is mechanical engineering. Then we have electrical engineering. Develop the power system, electronics, and renewable energy solutions, addressing Africa's energy challenges. That is another area of specialty that you can take. And lastly, second to the last, you have computer or software engineering. As a matter of fact, we are offering that in software engineering today in Prospect University. What it means is you have the ability to build applications, coding frameworks, and AI solutions to drive Africa's digital revolution. That is computer engineering right there. So, and finally, very important is agricultural and biomedical engineering. What does that mean? It gives you the ability to innovate food systems and healthcare technology to address crucial needs in African communities. Food security, for that matter. It is through that engineering skills that you can actually improve agriculture, bring more food to the table, and export food across the continent as well. So those are the different aspects of engineering. Why engineering matters a lot in Africa? Why do we emphasize about engineering Africa? Here is why we think that it is where millionaires will be made and how our continent will be impacted with this knowledge in mind. So first, infrastructure development. We are just a virgin continent. Building roads, bridges, and facilities to connect communities, countries. What about railway transit that you live from Cameroon to South Africa within hours? What about that? What about crossing to Uganda or to Burkina Faso? Instead of flying, you can take high-speed trains. These are environments that we can develop. It is only through engineering that those things can come to reality. We have the resources, the knowledge is what we want to impact on you. Water and sanitation. Water and sanitation. Creating sustainable systems to provide clean water and proper sanitation to millions currently is lacking. That's why in some of the remote areas, what do? We do boreholes and try to filter the water before you drink. And that's why a lot of people are buying bottled water, like Tangis and all of that. But if we have the commercial, the African engineering knowledge, we can build water supply from all the water that comes out naturally from the ground. All you do is build the facility, do commercial filtration, and you can supply the whole community with clean water to drink. It takes engineering mind to develop all that infrastructure. Now let's talk about healthcare technology. Healthcare cannot be forgotten. Develop affordable medical devices and systems tailored to African healthcare needs and constraints. Yes. You know, people have heart problems. You can have a device that monitor your heart, and it will electronically tell your doctor about the rate of your heartbeat, and it will also actually tell the doctor if you're in a danger zone or not, and you can be rapidly taken care of. So healthcare technology is advancing, but in Africa, it's a virgin market for that. Food security. This is some topic that was discussed last time we did a summit in Nigeria, which food security was there. Engineering agriculture innovations to increase crop yields, reduces waste, and ensure stable food supply. Can you imagine a virgin continent that we have, and we are still hungry because there is no innovation, there is no engineering involved. How can you take a big piece of land, cultivate it using tractor, using engineering method, planting and harvesting in a commercial way and supply the continent? We will be having food security assurance. But it's lacking. We are not having that. So this is a virtual market for everybody. If you are going for engineering, know that there is abundant opportunity for you to use our knowledge. Real life African engineering success stories. Again, M-PASA. This is my favorite thing for this country.
And it should be.
It is, indeed. It is engineering, homegrown engineering that is serving millions of people in the country.
Awesome.
There's also a Northern Motors in Nigeria. Can you imagine that we are now manufacturing cars in Nigeria? 10 years ago, it was a dream, but it is reality today. Essential skills for future engineers. I know you're wondering, oh, this is fantastic. How do I get it? What do I need to become one of the engineers, a rising star in Africa for that matter? How do I know? How do I know if I'm qualified to do engineering? Of course, let's go through the skills. If you have problem-solving skills, it is a generic feature or capabilities that people should know. It's not something you will learn in school. Problem-solving skill is if you are faced with a problem, how do you go about thinking how to solve it? Do you just give up and say, it's not my thing, I don't have time for it? People have that innate ability to solve a problem, just natural problem. If you can solve natural problem between families and friends, arguments and all of that stuff, then you have an engineering mindset of solving a problem. So you qualify. Do you like to work alone? Or you can work in a team? Can you bring people together and discuss a solution? Can you help people solve a problem in a team where somebody take the lead, somebody bring ideas, somebody listen to others, work in a team setting? Can you do that? Or you are just a loner who doesn't want to talk to people, stay on your own corner? If you have ability to teamwork, then you have an engineering mind and qualified to take that course. STEM foundation, strong understanding of mathematics, physics, and science as scientific principles. If you are in college, in university, or high school, or secondary school, do you run away from mathematics class? Do you embrace it? What about physics? What about biology? What about chemistry? Do you like those courses or you don't? If you are part of those courses at the initial stage, then you already have an engineering mindset. Creativity. Creativity. You know, there are people who can sit down and come up with creative ideas from their brain. Even like designing a brochure. Somebody sit down and say, I like it this way, imagine it, and here comes the design in his head. Somebody takes that idea and create that imagination. Do you have that skill to be creative? You know, you can read books and look online and whatever, but your own inner mind show a vision of something right in your brain that, hey, you know that we can do it this way, this way, this way, it will look good. If you have creativity in your mind, then you qualify to do engineering. What about communication? This one, communication. You are thinking, well, everybody can communicate. Oh, yes, of course. But there is a special skill in communication. If you can clearly explain complex technical concepts to different audience, there are people young and old, those who understand English, some understand only French. If you can manage to communicate in these kind of audiences, then you have an engineering mindset. And not the least, adaptability. Adjusting to new environment, new technologies, changing conditions in Africa, rapidly evolving landscape. Can you adapt or do you run away? I think most Africans adapt very quickly. Can you imagine when there were no phones in Africa in my age? If you have a landline, it would take years for them to give you a landline. But today, people are using their cell phone to do business. And it is it's growing like wildfire. Almost like 90-something% of Cameroonian or Africans, they have a cell phone in their hand. So they're adapting very rapidly. So I know that adaptability is not a problem in Africa. And so I want to encourage everybody, if you have 3 or 4 of these skills, you qualify to pursue engineering career. Now let's look at the future of engineering in Africa. All right, smart cities, green energy, robotics and AI and space exploration. These are areas that we have the opportunity to embark on. In Africa, smart city, what do I mean by smart cities? Intelligent open infrastructure using IoT and data analysis to improve efficiency and quality of life. That's a lot of jumble technical work. Let me break it down. Can you imagine that if you put a camera in your house and you have your cell phone, you download an app, you can literally be traveling anywhere in the world and you can communicate. Somebody who comes to your door, you will be able to talk to this person. If somebody tries to break into your house, you will see the action live. If you want to close your garage, you press your button on your phone, your garage will be closed, it will be open. These are all IoT devices can be used to enable our smart homes in Africa, not to talk about smart cities. It is also very useful to preventing burglary or thievery. This technology, when it's implemented, our family will be safe. And it's doable. All you need is an internet, and you can go anywhere and control your house. What about starting your refrigerator or turning your light off when you are far away and you forgot to turn your light off? You can do that remotely. That is smart city. These are things that can happen in Africa because we already have internet in most places. We have internet in most places using the Starlink, or the Elon Musk, one of the richest guys in the world, have given African continent an opportunity to get internet cheaply. Number 2, green energy. What do I mean by green energy? My goodness. You know the way we use energy today? And sometimes we use firewood to burn, then we get energy from it. Or you use propane to do gas cooking. And those are the only way we do it today. Well, there are many other ways you can actually address energy in Africa or get access to energy. What about solar system? You can put a solar panel in your home and you can have lighting in your house without burning any charcoal or polluting our our environment. So that's green energy right there. Robotics and AI. Can you imagine today in America or in European country where you are going to an airport to drop someone? 10 years ago, you have to talk to someone and say, give me a ticket. I want to go in and drop somebody. On our way back, you pay for the time that you use the system. Unfortunately, today, you cannot talk to people. You just go in, put your credit card. It knows that you are in. It knows how long you are still in the parking in the airport. When you leave, put your credit card. It will deduct exactly the amount that is needed, and nobody is there. Can you imagine that? Do you know that in some countries today, when you go to a restaurant, a robot will serve you. A robot will bring food to you on your table and serve you. Do you know that even on those tables, you don't when you order your food, you just put your card in the device and automatically you are doing charge, you don't talk to people. Robotics are here. And in Africa, it will be great because we need them. African robots can do agriculture. African robots can do a lot for us, and we are ready for it. So get into engineering so that you can help our own country. What about space exploration? I talk about Elon Musk with the Starlink. One day, Africa should be out there competing in the space. Africa builds satellites and space technology expanding our continental capability is a possibility. So, big deal. Absolutely. Now, are you preparing to get in? Do you want to take advantage of this? Our students can prepare now. I want to give you an opportunity to prepare now and get involved. Master the core subjects. I'm talking about in secondary school, you have physics, you have mathematics, you have biology and chemistry. Get involved. Don't run away from technology. As a matter of fact, it is the two technologies that we are surviving better today than before. Join STEM club. Follow African Bemba. Look at the YouTube channel. Follow us on the YouTube. Learn from the YouTube channel. There's a lot of information that we'll put out there for you. Learn the main basic coding, programming, basics. Programming is very, 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 very easy today. Like Python, uses natural language as a program. Like in the past, 10 years or 20 years ago, it was difficult to really learn the technology to program. Today it's very easy. Kids in grade schools are already programming. So Africans, get involved. Build practical project. Build practical project. Create simple robots, machines, or apps to apply your knowledge. There's so many free resources out there that you can use. Test your knowledge, challenge yourself, and there's help always there. Cultivate curiosity in your mind. Ask questions. Why is things working the way it is? I have this phone. How does it work? You know, I have this machine that can drive. How does it work? This little machinery that do a lot. Once you have curiosity, you are going to learn and you're going to know more. So this is how you can prepare yourself and get into engineering. Africa needs you.
That's right.
Starts as a dreamer. Today's dream becomes tomorrow's innovation that will transform Africa. Get involved. We request you to get involved, and that is the end of my presentation today.
Whoa! I'm just sitting here. I am so, so proud of you, my dear brother. So proud. You are breaking this down. You are customizing it for our people on the continent. What more could we ask for? And for those, I mean, who are not privileged to be part of the STEM program, yesterday, Professor Peter was teaching one of the strands, for Africa's Brain Bank. So it's been back to back, and he's doing this as a volunteer. Prof, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. TrustTech Online Academy is going to be handling our STEM program. No need to reinvent the wheels, so I'm so grateful to you, Professor Akwichek. You took the time to break the STEM, the science, the technology, the engineering, and the mathematics, and also especially our young people to get involved, not to be afraid of math, not to be afraid of physics, not to be afraid of STEM courses, biology, chemistry. So, Dr. Crossling, Miss Virginia World, you're muted. Welcome. You're always here. Do you have any questions or comments about engineering? I know you mentioned that you grew up among engineers. So we are tackling and we've done STEM for 9.5 years. Every year we tackle STEM on a month that has 5 Sundays. So Dr. Crossley, the mic is yours.
Okay, I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm driving.
Okay, you look beautiful though, as always.
Oh, thank you. So I just want to say thank you so much, Her Excellency Ambassador. I know you say you're not ambassador, but we call you that, Ambassador. Dr. Pam Fomenum. Thank you so much for this platform.
You're welcome.
Yes, so, and to all the viewers, I remember growing up wanting to be an engineer myself, and I didn't have the patience for it. And that's one thing that our youth need, and adults. We need patience. We need to slow down our speech, because it's difficult to understand clearly when someone is speaking about a topic we know nothing about to begin with. And that's what I found out, like, say, with people who speak with heavy dialects, like English as a second language, like my son's dad. He speaks perfect English, even though it's not his first language. But some people, especially when they're explaining math, you guys know, most people in STEM, English is not their first language.
That's accurate. You're so right.
And even he used to say that the mathematical test, because he is an engineer at NASA. We met before he went to work at NASA, but his uncles and them, obviously they all worked. They were working at NASA, but NASA has changed now dramatically. But anyways, back to my point, they always want their examinations and their certifications to be in their language instead of English, because English is not their first language. But just recently, when I was researching on YouTube, I can call that researching, because of what I was researching. And a lot of the engineers that create these YouTube videos, I can't understand what they're saying. Me
too. Ahead. I said me too. I'm agreeing with you.
Even though they're speaking English. And I just wish people would slow down and make it more exciting, because I would not have learned or passed mathematics to get my degree in health administration if my math tutor would not have made math interesting for me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Crossley. What you're saying is so true. A lot of these engineers, I'm talking about the big names, even those in technology, those behind the multinationals, a lot of them, English is not their first language. And even when they are presenting, you have to struggle. Myself, you have to struggle. But one thing people need to understand, and sometimes, unfortunately, people here in the US miss that, are considered ignorance. They need to understand that everybody has an accent. It depends on who is speaking and who is listening. There are even British people, I mean, they are the original language owners of the English language. They speak differently from Americans. And when they speak, it has to be, translated or closed captioned, because some of them will not understand what the British people are saying. Even in the United Kingdom, the people from different parts have different, in the United States, people from the South sound different from people from the Midwest and the West Coast and East Coast and all that. So We just need to just tolerate each other, and that's where cultural intelligence come in. And then learn, learn to be accommodative, to each other. And like you say, sometimes they need to slow down, because when people speak slowly, for example, me, I understand French. I speak very little. I never cared for it. And I'm not gonna try to improve my French. That's French. That's another colonial language. One colonial language is enough for me. But if somebody is speaking slowly, I will get more than 90% of what they're saying. If somebody is speaking very fast, I will just pick up here and there. And like I say, I have no interest in becoming proficient in a colonial master's language. I have no interest. But I just wanted to echo what you're saying. So, Prof, I have a question for you. In Africa, I remember in primary school, they used to put the girls to do domestic science while the boys did, what was it even called? Because that's where I was. Maybe you can weigh in here. They did, what was that, the option for boys? I don't remember, and that's where I was. I did not do domestic science. I think was it called natural science? It was called something science. Professor, do you remember in primary school in Cameroon?
You can remember everything but me.
Uh,
I say you can remember a lot that I do.
Oh, okay. No, don't say there was domestic science, and I think there was natural science. I may be wrong, but it was something science. Was it physical or natural? I don't remember. That was in primary school. I did not do domestic science. I went to the one where the guys were. So that's the one I studied. But I'm saying that the educational system is gender bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because the culture, and that needs to change. And maybe it's changing right now, but I'm saying they tend to push girls to more domestic stuff than guys. But if you look, most of the chefs are men. Even when we're back home in secondary school, the cooks were all men in our secondary school. So I don't know why they kept thinking a woman's place is in the kitchen. So it's the truth. And then when I finished secondary school and the GCE O levels, I had A in physics, A in chemistry, A in economics, and A in geography. The rest of them were B's. Guess what they put me, the cohort that they put me in Bambali? They put me in a cohort called economics, economics, geography, mathematics. Thank God my dad removed me from there and sent me to CPC, where I was in biochem, physics, math. But I'm just saying, just because of my results, what would I have done with economics, geography, and math? You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I would not be in the healthcare industry today if that's what I did in high school. So I'm just saying, the system back home, and I know Dr. Bagayoko has talked about this, even every time we do, I remember in the 2021, our summit, our second annual summit during the pandemic, it was virtual. The theme was digitalizing Africa's educational system. And the concern was, he even advised us, let's not even touch the curricula, because the people back home, they are so attached to that colonial curriculum that each time you try to touch it, it creates schism. And that is pathetic. That is so pathetic. Let's say our leaders were sleeping or they were ignorant back then. Now we know better. Most of the decision makers in institution of higher learning are people that have studied outside Africa, and they know that the curriculum is garbage. So why hang on to it? Why not change it? Why something is not working? We have students that come here from Africa. When it's theory, they make straight A's. But when it comes to practical, they can't even recognize any of the gadgets because they've never seen it or used it. Mm-hmm. Even our own Dr. Ogoji said, when he went for his residency or whatever, the theory part, he aced it. They were asking me about some machine. The machine was standing right to him. He didn't even know that there was a machine. But this is an amazing physician. You know, so we need to talk about these things. We cannot shy about it. And that's why on this program, we raise awareness about issues that affect our people, seek solutions to issues, and make progress. So, Dr. Akwichek, we need to address, and I want you to address this issue about the curriculum in Africa, especially since you have a university there in Cameroon.
Well, Reverend Pam, the thing is that I remember, as we just articulated in our days, that was like decades ago, things are now changing rapidly. I can see even in the industry today that is comparatively, you see ladies in the technology market, they are actually leading teams and charging forward. And narrowing the wages gap is narrowing. So for our young girls back in Africa, I think the opportunity is for everyone. I think they now can decide, it's no more the parent that will decide what kind of thing that they should do in school, but it's up to the student when they go to school. So our part as African Brain Bank organization, we should continue to encourage ladies to take science and technology when they go to school, and they should start early, And even some of these schools that we have in Africa, we can connect with them and continue to encourage, maybe give some awards to people, young African ladies or girls that are in technology. And that's the way that we can encourage them from our own perspective. The parents nowadays, in this generation, the parents only want to see results. And the students are the ones to decide. So we can influence them in many ways. And it's a program that we can come up with on how to actually motivate and influence our girls to get involved in technology.
Well, Prof, I'm glad you mentioned that next year in Ghana, during our 7th annual Summit and Charity Ball, we are going to do our inaugural STEM competition. So that because we want people to earn it. However, I want you to touch on something, which you answered it partially, but I want you to touch on something, because practically the reality on the ground now, GC results just came out in Cameroon. I'm just using that as an example, but this it cuts across the continent, especially sub-Saharan Africa. These students that are going to get certain courses in the GCE, they are not the ones selecting what they do in high school. It's the system that is going to place them in those cohorts. So I want you to talk about that, because it's not right. They look at numbers and they don't look at students. Because first of all, somebody may have it, but like me, the reason why I had B in biology, I don't like creatures. I don't like touching animals. I don't. Even in pharmacy school, in the lab, I was petrified because I had to inject a mice. We had to inject drugs into mice and see how they act. And I told the lab instructor, who was a graduate student, I said, I cannot touch this mice. I said, just looking at the mice is traumatic for me. So they had to pair me with somebody that held the mice, and then I injected. And guess what? Because I couldn't stand to look at the mice, I punctured the vein. And I got a B in the class. I had everything else, but just that I don't like even guinea pigs. I didn't want to touch them. I don't like touching. That's why I'm not a physician. Because first of all, because I can't stand blood. But touching creatures is not my thing. So I'm saying that it's not every student. They should not just go with the results of paper. They should interview students and find out what their interest is. You understand what I'm saying? Right. And see if this student is interested in A, B, or C, or X, Y, Z, and not just automatically dump. Nobody interviewed me when they put me in economics, mathematics. They just, I got to Bambi, I found out that was the cohort I was in, and I'm glad my father sent me to CPC. So I want you to talk about that systemic, I don't want to call it, but it is a systemic cancer.
Again, it's a system that has been there forever, and we have to figure a way to change it. one of the ways that I believe it's always going to be influenced from externally. People who are in the field, in the other engineers, organizations like the ABB, are going to participate in influencing our legacy system to open up to the reality when it comes to technology. One of the ways we can do it is encourage the teachers, encourage the administrators who are actually deciding the fate of a student when they show up at school.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, what should happen is we can help with that as well. You design an aptitude assessment
For the instructors
for
or
the
the students.
that because if a instructor sits and the student shows up and they say, hey, you are going to be a science student, you're going to be an art student, the student just follow because they are now vulnerable. They look at the school administrator as their mentors. But then we need to say, no, you cannot just take people into different career paths without actually knowing whether they can be or not. So we do an assessment. I did that for my students when they come online because they have to decide whether they're going to do cloud engineering, they're going to do cyber security, they're going to do data engineering.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when they show up, right? I can't say, oh, everyone's going to do engineering. No, I give the student an opportunity to say, but I don't know how to choose. I said, don't worry. So we set an aptitude test that
Mm-hmm.
is not like pre-knowledge. It doesn't look at, oh, maybe you're already done in physics or mathematics. But, no, we don't use that to measure your ability. We
Mm-hmm.
use an aptitude test, which means that things that you will likely like to do. For
Do
example, you are describing that you don't like to touch guinea pigs or even do surgery or do an injection.
or rats or
Exactly.
blood, yeah.
So a question will be set on how do you have a pet at home? So by saying yes or no, we know that you are familiar. You would like to work with pets.
Just for the record, the only pet that I have is an aquarium. Because that's all.
There's a fish in the
It's
aquarium.
fish. Yeah, fish is in an aquarium. That's all.
So I think we have a lot of impact that we can do indeed.
Mm-hmm.
And it also it goes with an incentive. You go to a university, you say, you know what, we can help you organize a student in the right career path. This is how you do it. They will embrace it. They will like it. Because at the end of the day, the student will perform better and the school will be promoted. I mean, they're going to come to the result.
But Prof, you see, because you can't give what you don't have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those instructors are limited in the knowledge that they had because it's just those who studied back home. Mm-hmm. That's the system that they know. They don't know any better, so they cannot give. And sometimes when this younger generation, the Gen Zs and the the beta, I don't know what the ones below the Gen Zs before you get to the beta, but with their access to internet and the global connectivity, they have information that some of their instructors don't even have. And when they try to challenge the teachers or try to ask questions, sometimes those teachers take it as an offense. They take it as an offense. I'll give you, Dr. Bagayoko told us a story. It's not just from the students. When he went back to Mali, was trying to assist this the school system there to do some classes and he was doing it for free. But some of the instructors did not want his help because they get paid for doing what he was going to do for free. You see what I'm saying? So basically, with him coming to donate his time, or volunteer was taking money out of their pockets. So those are we need to address all these issues. And that's where policy and governance come in. And at some point, you may say, well, yes, we want to stick with the private sector, but some things are influenced by the government, by the Ministry of Education. So we need to look at all these things. And one of the things I'm very happy about with the Brain Bank is that we don't just talk, we do. You taught the class last Saturday, you broke it down. I mean, we are bringing premium knowledge to the students, and I'm glad we have postgraduates. So we have students from Form 5 to postgraduate taking the same course. And a lot of teachers need to be in that class. So for the second batch, we are hoping to go to the 5,000 capacity. And that's why we're going to be raising funds for the students, because, and I thank God that you have come on board and basically doing this for free. So, but I want us to look at this as we prepare, not just for New York. In New York, you're going to be speaking on Friday about Trust Tech, but on Saturday morning, you're on the panel. You're going to be talking about what we are doing to stop the brain drain, and so, but we'll talk offline. Let me see if Dr. Crosslin, no, let me see if you want to address the issues with the instructors and the system, what I just, if you want to comment on anything I just said about the teachers not being able to give what they don't have. And some of them, I'll give you an example. One of the teachers, I'm not going to say the country, actually sent me a message that, oh, does he have to do the weekly assignments that the students are doing? I told him, I said, if you don't do it, you're not going to get any certificate at the end of it. I said, you are an instructor. He thought he was just there to guide, but how can you guide when you don't even know? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know if it's pride or what. They are students, but I'm going to be a special student. I like to acquire new knowledge. Last night, I watched an 81-year-old man on Shark Tank that just came up with something strap. He's 81 years old. He was in wheelchair, and he's still innovative. So people should, continuing education is critical. I don't care what your specialty is. You have to keep learning. When you do your continuing education, don't copy somebody's exam. Do it so that you learn, because there's a reason why continuing education is required. There's new knowledge that you have to acquire to stay current. But some of these teachers, they had their degree 20 years ago, 30 years ago. They have not learned anything new from when they studied to take that exam. So, Prof, I want you to weigh in on that.
Well, it's a fact, and we've experienced it for sure, indeed. If somebody doesn't have something, they cannot do it right, for sure. But then, we can always instill the best practices and also direct in a way that will be changing the narratives, the assumption that people just do it in the legacy way, the old ways of doing things. So we have the opportunity, we have to leverage. I think we can come up with several different programs and get the teachers involved. I know we are targeting students. Maybe we should come up with a program that will target teachers.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a program by itself, and we bring them together, we give them the tools, they will do it.
Well, what we'll do is, even with those instructors, we still want them to go through the 12 strands, because it is critical for everybody. And then when they go through, and then we'll attach a STEM award to it, to the teachers that excel, so that we empower them to be able to impact the right kind of knowledge and the relevant knowledge on these kids, and even like you're talking about engineering. We had a young man on this show a few years ago. I think his name is Emmanuel Mansari, if I'm not mistaken. He's from Sierra Leone. He created a solar-powered functional vehicle from trash, 100% trash. Somebody like that should be. We had him on this program, tried to raise funds for him. There were 2 donations, one from me and one from our co-anchor ambassador. He said that was it, and that's a shame. By the way, our main anchor, Mr. Songlefan Ambassador, these are indisposed today, so they are not on here today. But I'm just saying, so I even started a program, I won't say the name because I don't want somebody to copy it, that would enable this young man to use his skills in Africa, because we're not trying to get people to leave the continent. We're trying to train them there and then give them jobs there. But that program is just pending because of funding. But it's a program, and then there are people that are not even in the school systems, but that either dropped out of school or they could not afford it. Those should not be lost either, because they have skills. So we have to try to capture that population also. So we have our work cut out for us, my brother. So in New York. We are definitely going to have a meeting on this after the program. Dr. Crosslin, we're going to take a round of the table. What is your final word?
Oh, great. So again, thank you so much for this platform. I learned so much. I would just like to say that back to the one of the NASA engineers that was in my dissertation perspective class course, I was able to explain to him, and he speaks perfect English, that his committee would not be, in his chair, would not be able to understand his research because he's not going to be able to explain it to them at a level where they can understand it. So us being students, we also have to be versatile and understand who our audiences are when we're trying to explain a concept to them. And that is required to graduate. So students also, I know we're talking about what they need. They also need to be versatile. I know my math professor, when I was in junior college, algebra, she wrote our mathematics book, our algebra, excuse me, book. And she, a white lady, blonde hair, blue eyes. And the first thing I do before I read a book is I see who wrote it. And it had her name in it. And I asked her, I said, this person's name who wrote this mathematics book is the same name as yours. And she just smiled and she said she wrote the book. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, if she can write a math book that we have to learn out of and that costs hundreds of dollars for one book, you guys know how expensive our college books are. And I was like, I can do anything I want through Christ. Now,
Awesome.
I did not desire to become, well, most people desire being medical doctors, but I have, I'm a speed reader, so I read fast, and I don't have patience to read a concept and to connect it and be in it and be focused. I like to just smooch over everything, get the context, the contextual meaning of what I'm learning, because then I understand the big picture. But being a medical doctor requires us to take everything by steps and then be able to explain those steps. It's just a lot of more. It's a skill that goes beyond mathematics. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Crosslin. Thank you so much. I love concepts, and that's why I love physics, because it wasn't much reading. Once you understand the concepts or the principles, then you can apply them. You know, my favorite subjects in schools were physics and chemistry, and surprisingly, economics and geography. So it was kind of, those are my favorite subjects. The rest of them, I just accommodated them. I definitely did not like biology because of all the lab animal stuff. But Professor Peter Akwichek, I don't even know how to thank you, but I'm so proud of you. I'm going to give you the mic to give your last word before we call it today.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Pam, for the great job you have been doing.
I thought about something. I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Can a dishwasher call themselves an engineer? Can somebody who washes dishes in a restaurant? Let me tell you this. I have a brother who's a physician, and one of my niece's graduation, he was telling people that they see him now, they don't know what he's gone through. That when he came to this country, he worked as a stainless steel engineer. And I was wondering what that was. So then he said he used to wash the pots in the restaurant. So he qualified it by saying stainless steel engineer. And there are people now that are janitors, they call themselves environmental engineers. So I want you to weigh in on that.
Well, when I was going through the details about what engineering is all about and the different branches of engineering, um, I was going through, and there were areas where I mentioned about the civil engineering.
Mm-hmm.
It means that what? It means that those are some of the technologies that people develop locally, using their own imagination, and they create something. And I've seen a lot of that happening in Africa too. So if somebody titled himself an engineer, it means that he was able to create something that actually takes the manual effort away. Like for example, remember how we used to do, you use a mortar to pound fufu,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that right now in Africa, people have engineered that concept, and they use a machine that you put your thing in the
Yeah.
container, and then you have a manual iron that goes through, and they
Mm-hmm.
just keep turning and turning and turning and turning, and you're grinding. That is engineering.
Cassava, they used to grade it by hand.
Uh-huh.
They have machines that grade it. Of course, the Chinese have come on stuff. They are now making mass producing gari, but just our own people. Yeah, you're right.
So those are all engineering work of our people. It takes imagination, it takes curiosity, and you see the engineering emerge from our country. So a dishwasher, look at the dishwashing and say, this is too much work manually doing it. I have to figure a way to do this differently. And then they come up with a method of using machine that is manufactured locally.
Okay, so let me ask you. So I can call myself a culinary engineer because I used to wash bitter leaf by hand. Most people, and one day, because I like to cook, I'm a chef, by the way. I like to cook large quantities of food. And I was running behind. So I just sliced the bitter leaf and threw it in my blender and chopped it. And lo and behold, the bitterness came out because the foam came out. And from that day, I don't wash bitter leaf anymore. So should I come?
There you go. Now you are saving time, and now you're making the process much easier.
Yes.
If you can teach somebody else to do the same, and that's how you impact the community.
Okay.
That way. So yeah, it's exactly.
All right. Your final word, Prof. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam Pam. I appreciate everybody listening to our chat here. We are all talking about African and the engineering impact in our country. Today, we have seen that engineering is not just about machines, bridges, or codes. It is about solving real problems and building a better future. Africa has unique challenges, but also unique opportunities. And the future engineers will transform our communities, design new technologies, and create solutions to improve lives. Are sitting right here in this room as you are listening to us today. Remember, every great engineer starts with a curiosity and the courage to ask, what if? Just like you can hear Reverend Tom was talking about bitter leaf and how she found a better way to wash it. And then you can also ask the question, why not this way? Why must I do it the same way for decades and there should be a better way to do it? While you start thinking like that, then you are actually cultivating an engineer mindset. Keep learning, keep building, keep dreaming big. Africa needs your ideas, your creativity, your passion. You are just the leader of tomorrow. You are the innovators of today. Let us rise together and use engineering to shape a brighter future for Africa and the world as a whole. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your day and come back for more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. So next week, we're going to be tackling the S, science.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, I'll see you in New York City the following week. I think that the good thing is that Sunday we'll be discussing a medical topic, so you'll be able to enjoy the billionaire breakfast brunch without having to be on this program. You know, I want to make a quick announcement. Africa's Brain Bank, our sister organization, is having a 6th annual summit and charity ball in New York City Labor Day weekend. We are expecting students from the New York City area and New Jersey City area, but we need sponsors. Dr. Crossley, get all your billionaire friends, including Don Lemon, to sponsor. We need to get the students in there because they are the future. You know, so just go to africasbrainbank.org and you will see the information on the homepage and click and register. We're going to be talking about Africa's Brain Bank as a solution to Africa's brain drain. We want to stop the brain drain. And a few years ago, I redefined the brain drain to not just mean the loss of African talent from the continent, but the inaccessibility of Africa's global intellectual capital to all African descendants. So I changed that definition a few years ago. So we'll be tackling that, and we aim to unveil the brain bank in Ghana next year. God willing, we need sponsorships, we need support. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All donations are tax deductible. We want to wish everyone a most pleasant week coming up, and make it a point to transform lives. But we don't have any administrative fees. We don't have employees. 100% of your donation is going to go to support the students. The STEM students that we currently have now are from 5 different countries: Nigeria, Cameroon, Sierra Leone, Ghana, and the Gambia. You know, those students, when they finish the phase 1, they're going to be going to phase 2, the actual STEM program, and it's going to be $300 per student. If you would like to support a student, please go to africasbrainbank.org and make a donation, and please indicate whether you are sponsoring a STEM student or you are sponsoring a student to attend the event in New York. We want them to see Black intelligence on display, Black excellence in display. Last year in Lagos, we had students from University of Lagos and Yaba College of Technology, and I can assure you their lives have been transformed for good. So thank you so much, and see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.